today is Elevate the Dream Weekend. And as we celebrate this weekend, and it's a significant weekend for us, I'm standing on the property of First Baptist Church in Frisco, Texas, where 10 years ago, in July of 1999, I did a funeral for Mary Ann Thomas. And when I was standing on this property doing that funeral for Mary Ann Thomas, little did I know that God was beginning a journey in me that would establish Celebration Covenant Church. So here we were in July of 1999 doing one funeral, and in September I'm back at this same place doing Gary Burns' funeral. And here's what the Bible says, that until a seed falls in the ground and die, there is no harvest. And God began to show me that it wasn't just these people's lives, it wasn't just the funerals, but it's our journey, really from death in one sense to life in another sense. And it's how life works. So we go through life, and what happens is what seems like is an ending for one person is a new beginning for somebody else. And 10 years later, what a beginning it's been, but I still feel like we are in the beginning. So I wanted to take you back to First Baptist Church. I wanted to take you back to 1999. I wanted you to remember on this weekend that as we elevate the dream, it's because it all started not with my dream, but with God's dream. And then we submitted to that process. You have no idea what God's going to do in your life in the next 10 years, but in our life as a church in the next 10 years. Well, let's take a little trip back. Here we go. Well, here we are at Buenos Nuevos, and I've got fond memories of this place because this was where we had our first core meeting. When the 30 of us or so got together at Buenos Nuevos in the first week of November 1999, we began to dream. We began to try to capture what God was dreaming and what God was doing. And we began to think, okay, where are we going to meet? And so I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start not the first week of January, but we're going to start the second week of January, which just happened to be January 9th, which just happened to be my 40th birthday. And little did I know what God had in store for us. Well, hey, some of you have never seen where we started, so let's go. Well, hey, here we are at Noel Smith Elementary, and again, not much to say except we met here for 2 years, and we had some great meetings on Sunday nights. And I was so excited, though, when I finally heard that we were going to get to meet on Sunday mornings, and that was at Wilma Fisher School, and literally would be right down the street from where our eventual church building would be, our 27 acres. So let's take you over to Wilma Fisher. I remember the setup and tear down at Wilma Fisher. Again, now that changes the dynamic because now, even though we had teams, we actually had 4 teams in place, set up and tear down teams. That was the tough work because now we started at 9 o'clock, so they had to get there at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, that was a new dynamic, you know, and then going from 1 service to 2 services. We grew from Noel Smith of having about 250 people to, while we were at Wilma Fisher, to over 400 people. And so it was a significant time in the life of our church. Well, here we are at Wilma Fisher, and it's not about the building, but it's about what happened in that building. Again, we grew from about 250 people to about 450 when we moved out of this building. But man, I'm just reminded of all the great series that we did at this school. The Home Improvement series, the Dreams Work series, the Fear Factor series, and this is really where the creativity for Celebration Covenant Church began. But these were great days, and finally the day came, June 20th, Father's Day of 2004, we moved in to the new Celebration Center. Well, let's go there, even though you've all been there. When we first bought this land, there was nothing on these 4 corners. Now there's Walgreens, there's a bank here. When we bought this property, this 27 acres, this whole area began to grow and begin to develop. None of these homes were here over here. None of these homes. Well, here we are at the Celebration Center, and let me show you right where this happened, okay? Because right here on that first Sunday, June 20th, 2004, was where we cut the ribbon. How exciting was that? And these are names of people who gave, and the people that gave that are in this little walkway here all gave $12,000 in a year's time, over and above their first fruits and their offerings. Well, hey, Celebration, this is kind of interesting. I'm on the back of our property, right at the edge of our land, and this bridge was back here. And you know what we believe around here, say it with me, for everything in the natural, there's a supernatural correlation. And in and of itself, this bridge doesn't mean anything, but naturally and supernaturally, it does for me. And that is when I walked back here just to do our little shoot and I saw this bridge, I thought, you know, this is a picture of where we've been on this side. And yet, here's where we're going. And what it looks like now is dirt and mud today and water, but the fact is that's where we're headed. And this bridge has no significance except the significance that we ascribe to it. And it's like this weekend. It's like this could be just another bridge. This weekend, this Elevate the Dream weekend, could be just another weekend, or we could ascribe value to it to say, hey, this is where we've been, and we got to cross this bridge and elevate to get on the other side. You know, I'm reminded of the journey of Joshua. I mean, talk about the journey of Joshua. We're all on this journey, and really it's a journey of elevation, and I'm going to be talking about that more today, but I just wanted to lay this foundation as we stand on the edge of this property, and that is, God spoke to Joshua, and he said, my servant Moses is dead. Now therefore arise. There's that word, arise. Elevate. Go over this Jordan, you and all this people, to the land which I'm giving them, the children of Israel. Every place the sole of your foot will tread, I will give you. I'll give you. You know, God has given us this land, and 27 acres. And it's our job to advance His kingdom. It's not somebody else's job, it's our job. He's given it to us. And He gave it to us when we were only 2 years old. And yet today I stand on this bridge because we're at a place where God is giving us an opportunity not to stay on this side, but to cross over onto the other side. And it's a land that He's given to us. So I just want to say on this Elevate the Dream weekend, thank you for being a part of the journey. I want to challenge you just to do something significant. We wanted to take you through our own journey in the natural, so hopefully you could see supernaturally what your part is now. You know, when we had 250 people, we bought this property, 27 acres in Frisco, Texas. When we had 450 people or so, we moved into this building. And literally in now 5 years, into our 5th year, we have grown from 450 to over 4,000 people every weekend. Think about that for a minute. So He used 250 people to get the land. He used 450 of us total to get the land and the building that we're on. Now He's using 4,000 of us for this next level, and that's what it's going to take. We can't do it with the same people. We're the new core. And yet the positive thing is some of the original core are still carrying the weight. The positive thing is now you as the new people are going to help us carry the weight as we go into the future. You know, we're standing on the back of our property, and I don't know if you can hear the voices of children, but let's listen for a minute. That's who we're building this for. I find it interesting that right as we're doing this filming, they come outside. And we could see that as noise, or we can understand, no, that's why we're doing this. Not only for us, but for our children and for our children's children. On a personal note, Rick and Kim Jones never knew that when they came to our church in 2000 and Whitney was 9 years old, that in bringing their family to this church, their son Clay Jones would find his mate forever. This is going to be a place where people find God, where they find themselves, where they find each other, and where transformation really does happen. I'm excited about it. Thank you for being a part of Elevate the Dream. Let's build His kingdom together.